If you spend more than 5 minutes on health TikTok lately, you probably heard Berberine called nature's Ozempic, a plant compound that supposedly melts fat, crushes blood sugar, and does what a prescription injection does, but naturally, which sounds incredible, right? And also sounds like something an overly confident golden retriever would believe if you told him kale was bacon. When the internet gets this excited about a supplement, two things are usually true. There's often a real effect buried in there somewhere, and the real effect is almost always being stretched further than a cat stretches when it's pretending it was not asleep. So today, we're slowing this down. I'll walk you through what Berberine actually does, who it generally helps, and where expectations quietly get inflated, and whether calling it nature's Ozempic actually makes sense once you understand the full picture. And stay till the end for two things. First, I'll give you two red flags that instantly tell you when a supplement comparison has gone off the rails. Second, I'll give you a simple worth it or skip it checklist you can use on Berberine and on the next trend the algorithm throws at you. You're watching Health Sense or Nonsense. I'm Marcus, the wellness watchdog, and I generally care about your well-being. My job is to make science feel like common sense, not like a chemistry final. Quick but important note. Before we go any further, my video is for educational purposes only and is not medical advice. I'm talking population level research, not personal recommendations. Do not start, stop, or change medications or supplements without talking with a qualified healthcare professional. What is berberine? Berberine is a plant compound found in things like barberry, golden seal, and Oregon grape. It has a long history of traditional use, often for infections and digestive problems, not for shredded abs. Modern research got interested because berberine affects how cells handle energy. In plain English, it can nudge certain metabolic pathways to be a little more efficient, especially how the body handles glucose. That is real, but it's not magic. If berberine has a strongest lane, it's blood sugar control, specifically in people who already have insulin resistance or type 2 diabetes. In that group, berberine tends to improve fast glucose and longer-term markers over time. Not dramatically, not overnight, but meaningfully enough to show up in labs. Here's the big pattern that explains why the comment section is always chaotic. The worse your starting numbers, the more room you have to improve. People with higher baseline blood sugar often notice more change. People who already have normal glucose often feel basically nothing. That doesn't mean anyone is broken. It means your body is not an iPhone update where everyone gets the same features on the same day. Biology is messy and it is deeply unfair. If something truly worked the same way for everyone, regardless of the starting point, we'd all be prescribing it. Medicine loves boring things that works reliably, and berberine is not boring enough for that. Let's talk about the part everyone clicked for, weight loss. Yes, some people do lose weight while taking berberine, but when it happens, the changes are usually modest and gradual. We're talking small shifts over months, not I sneezed and my jeans fell off. This is a different universe from GLP-1 drugs that directly suppress appetite. Berberine does not appear to make people dramatically less hungry in a strong central way. Any weight changes are more likely indirect through improved insulin sensitivity and metabolic efficiency. That's subtle. And subtle does not belong in a before and after thumbnail, but here we are. If a supplement caused double-digit weight loss without changing appetite, calories, or behavior, it would break physics. And physics is undefeated. X Albert Einstein. Ozempic and similar GLP-1 drugs work primarily by changing appetite and signaling. They make people feel full sooner, think about food less, and for many people that creates a sustained calorie deficit. That's why they can produce a large weight loss over a year or more in big trials. Berberine does not do that. Calling berberine nature's Ozempic is like calling walking nature's treadmill. Technically related, functionally not the same experience. Both involve movement, but only one comes with a safety clip, and depending on your insurance, emotional damage. Stay with me, because the next segment explains why berberine looks insanely powerful on social media, even when weight loss does not follow. And yes, the two red flags and the checklist are still coming at the end. Also, quick pause. If you're finding this helpful, like the video and subscribe to Health Sense or Nonsense. It helps this kind of evidence-based content. Now, the big reason berberine is trending right now, CGMs, A CGM is a continuous glucose monitor, a small wearable sensor that tracks your blood sugar throughout the day and shows it as a line on your phone. When people take Berberine and see that line get smoother, it feels more powerful. It feels like you hacked your metabolism. And to be clear, smoother glucose curves can be a good thing, especially for people with blood sugar issues. But here's the trap. A flatter glucose line means fewer spikes in that moment. It does not automatically mean more fat loss is happening. Glucose control and weight loss are related, but they are not the same outcome. One does not guarantee the other. You can dramatically improve glucose swings without losing a pound, and you can lose weight while still having imperfect glucose curves. Your body is complicated like that, and it did not ask TikTok for permission. Now, I want to add a personal note because I tried Berberine. I did not see any noticeable weight loss. What I did notice was that after eating, I felt unusually tired, like a stronger than normal post-meal slump. Does that prove Berberine caused it? But it gives us a useful teaching moment. If a supplement changes how your glucose rises and falls after meals, some people may feel that shift as steadier energy, and some people may feel it as fatigue. Sometimes it's the timing. Sometimes it's the size of the meal. Sometimes it's sleep debt. Sometimes it's your overall insulin sensitivity. Point is, effects can be real without being predictable. This is why it worked for me is not the same as it will work for you. And it's also why it didn't work for me is not the same as it does nothing. Antidotes are signals, but they are not verdicts. Another reason Berberine keeps going viral is that it produces fast feedback. CGM graphs move quickly. Weight loss moves slowly. Platforms reward what looks impressive today, not what holds up in 6 months from now. Now let's talk about real-world practicality. Even when Berberine helps markers, the lived experience matters. Gastrointestinal side effects are common: cramping, diarrhea, bloating, constipation, and that special feeling of, I should have not trusted this before a road trip. A lot of people stop because of this. Any supplement you do not take cannot help you. Berberine can interact with medications, especially drugs that affect blood sugar and blood pressure. Stacking Berberine on top of prescriptions can increase the risk of low blood sugar, blood pressure changes, or other attendant effects. Natural does not mean harmless. Nature also invented poison ivy and the goose. Another issue that almost no hype video mentions is supplement variability. Berberine is not regulated like a prescription medication. Purity and formulation can vary across products. Two people can take something labeled Berberine and have different experiences, and that noise gets mistaken for mystery. One comparison you'll sometimes hear in more science-minded circles is Berberine versus Metformin. Metformin is a first-line prescription for type 2 diabetes, decades of data, clear dosing, and known long-term safety monitoring. Berberine has some overlapping themes in glucose handling, but it does not have the same depth of evidence, consistency, or regulation. So if a video implies Berberine is a natural metformin replacement, treat that as another hype leap, please. Also, a quick reality check on best way to take it debates. Most of the benefits people talk about come from overall patterns, not perfect timing hacks. In research settings, Berberine is often taken in divided doses with meals, and GI side effects are common enough that people adjust or stop. That's not a recommendation for me. It's a reminder that if a supplement is hard to tolerate, it's hard to benefit from. Practicality is part of the evidence. Zooming out, the broader research pattern matters too. Many studies are shorter term and smaller. Some are clustered in similar regions. That does not make them worthless, but it does mean long-term durability is less certain than for standard diabetes medications or GLP-1 drugs. Where does that leave us? Berberine is best viewed as a tool, not a transformation. It may be a reasonable discussion for people with insulin resistance or type 2 diabetes under medical supervision. It may modestly improve some metabolic markers, including glucose and sometimes lipids, in some people. It is not a replacement for medications, lifestyle changes, or evidence-based obesity treatments. And it is definitely not Ozempic in disguise. Here's the checklist I promise. If you want a supplement decision tool that actually protects you from hype, use 3 questions, then 2 red flags. Question 1, what outcome are you trying to change? Be specific. Blood sugar markers, appetite, body weight, cholesterol, energy? Question number 2, is the effect big enough to matter in real life? not statistically significant, actually meaningful. Question number 3, who does it reliably help? People with insulin resistance are not the same as people with normal labs. A supplement can be useful in one group and basically irrelevant in another. Now, the 2 red flags. Red flag number 1 is when a supplement is compared directly to a prescription drug without mentioning magnitude and time. Works like, or same as, blur the difference between modest effects and life-changing ones. That's not clarity, that's just pure marketing. Red flag number 2 is when weight loss is promised without appetite change, calorie change, or a realistic timeline. This is not optimism. That is marketing wearing a lab coat. If you apply the checklist, you'll make fewer impulsive buys. You'll also feel less confused when you see conflicting testimonials because you'll know what to ask next. And one more practical takeaway, because I want you to leave with something you can use today. If you're considering Berberine, the safest next step is not order it tonight. The safest next step is clarify your goal and check your baseline. If you do not know your starting point, you cannot judge whether it will help. That can mean talking to your clinician, reviewing recent labs, or at minimum being honest about whether your main issue is appetite, activity, sleep, stress, or metabolic disease. That's the difference between evidence-based decisions and algorithm-based decisions. And I'm saying that because I genuinely care about your well-being. We are trying to improve our wellness together, not collect supplement bottles like they're Pokemon. And just to be clear again, this video is educational content, not medical advice. Always talk with a qualified healthcare professional before making changes to medications or supplements, especially if you have diabetes, take glucose lowering meds, take blood pressure meds, are pregnant, or breastfeeding. Berberine isn't nonsense, but it isn't magic either. It lives in the gray zone where real effects exist, but expectations need guardrails. If this helped you, share it with someone who's about to buy a supplement because an algorithm told them to. Like and subscribe to Health Sense or Nonsense for more evidence-based breakdowns without the marketing hype. I'm Marcus, your wellness watchdog out.